because they're being lied to. Let me repeat that. They're being lied to majorly. And it's time that they be told the truth by those that they trust, which is us, their real estate professionals. Hello, everyone. So this video here is for real estate agents for the most part. Now, is buyers and sellers cool to watch this? 100%, right? But this is mainly for real estate agents because there's something specific that's very, very, very important that I want everyone to be doing right now. One is, as a real estate professional, it's your job to educate the public on what's going on in the market, what's happening. And right now, more than ever, the public needs some help. Your buyers, your sellers, your family, your friends, they all need help. They need to be told what's going on in this market. And if you're not taking the time to call them and explain this to them, you're failing your own sphere of influence, your own people, because they're being lied to. Let me repeat that. They're being lied to majorly. And it's time that they be told the truth by those that they trust, which is us, their real estate professional, their real estate broker, their real estate agent. We need to get out there and educate. Let me explain a little more thorough to you. Okay. There's these YouTubers out there. There's these people out there that are completely spreading lies. This is what they're saying. They're saying that they're selling X number of their investments right now, preparing for a market crash. All right. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, if you've watched anything else that we've been talking about out there, we've been explaining the market, and I'll explain a little more today on what the market's going on. But for the most part, if you've watched any of these and you understand, you should know by now that the market is actually still up right now today, roughly 10% on average year over year from where it was last year. So tell me, where's the market going to crash? It's not going to crash. These YouTubers are out to make money off of you. Okay. Look up some of their videos and watch them, because what you're going to see is the key point of these videos, after they tell you that after they lie to you and tell you that they sold X number of their rentals and now they're on standby, this is how they made their first millions. After that, they try to sell you something. Watch to the end, guys. You got to watch to the end, because in the end, they're trying to sell you a product. That's what the whole thing is all about. They want to make money off the people, off of your sphere of influence. So right now, more than ever, we got to call our buyers or sellers. We got to explain to them what's going on. And so these people, what they're doing is they're saying, let's just say $20 million. And this is why they're lying. This is how I know. $20 million. Okay. I sold $20 million worth of my investments, and now I'm sitting. Let me explain to you how I did it the first time, buying my product, blah, blah, blah. The reason why I know they're lying is because, one, there's this thing. It's maybe you don't know about it, but I'd be surprised if you did. And it's called capital gains. Okay. So if you sell $20 million worth of your real estate investments, you're going to get hit with capital gains tax. And that could be anywhere between 22, 20, up to 30%, depending on the tax bracket. All right. Depending on where it's at right now, depending on the person's tax bracket. Just think $20 million. If you get hit with capital gains on $20 million worth of real estate investments, you're going to lose roughly $4.4 to $6 million. All right. And if you go back when the market crashed before, on average, the median sales price was right around $250,000, and it dropped like $70,000 over a year and a half period of time until it started going back up. So really, did they really sell all of their investments? No, because if they're truly an investor, then what investors do is they do what's called a 1031 exchange, and they exchange so they don't have to pay those taxes. They get deferred over to the next investment. A rental would go into a real estate rental. That's a deferred, they'll defer it through a 1031 exchange process so that tax gets deferred. They don't just cash out unless they're retiring and they want to live off of, I guess that's a great living to live off of. 20 million, you live off of 4 million, you're going to live off about $12 million for the rest of your life. You're maybe 60 years old or 70 years old, and you're ready to retire and live your life good. Okay, sell all your investments and do it. But to make money off of it by selling that's a hugacious hit. And they did not do that. I mean, I'm telling you, prove it to me. You YouTubers out there that are lying to these people to try to sell your product, prove to me that you did it. Let's see your numbers. I'd love to see them because they didn't do it. So it's our job to call and explain this stuff to these buyers and sellers. I'm going to show you a couple of graphs today and show you a little bit on how right now some additional educational things that we need to be calling our buyers and sellers and explaining to them what's going on. All right. So first and foremost, call them, explain to them what's happening, explain to them the market and how they did not do that. Secondly, I want to show you a graph. This is a graph of the 30-year fixed mortgage on average in the United States. And if we look back all the way back to the 70s, you'll see that, you know, we were about 7.5%. In the 80s, it jumped up as high. I mean, I'll tell you, I was in a meeting the other day where someone said they actually locked someone in at 22% interest rate back in the day in the 80s. All right. So, and guess what? People were still buying. Why? Because smart money understands that when you buy real estate, you buy when you can. And if you watch some of my other videos, you'll see that, you know, I explain that you actually buy when you can, not when it's high, not when it's low, not when it's in the middle. You buy when you can, right? And then you refinance later. Unless you're buying it as a flip property, they even understand that. They're still buying when it's high. They're still buying when it's low. Investors are still buying. A real true investor that's telling you the truth is still buying when it's high and it's low and it's in the middle. They buy when they can, and it's because it's an investment purposes. And later on in life, as the interest rate trickles back down, they refinance it if they bought it as a rental, or they paid cash for it, or whatever it is that this investor did. They're still buying real estate because real estate is the long-term investment. That unless it's a flip or something, they're still buying too in a high market. Flippers were buying tons of properties in the high market. And right now they're buying tons of properties right now. I know we have several flippers on our real estate team. They're still buying. So you don't buy when the market's high, low, or in the middle. You buy when you can. And then you refinance later. If you're buying it for long-term, typically a family lives in a home for 5 years. And here's an important thing to remember right now. This year, we're about, from January to May, the market went up roughly 16% year over year from January to May. June, we came to a bit of a halt because all of a sudden, yeah, the interest rates started going up. Some of these buyers weren't able to buy anymore. So they were in different brackets of purchase money. And so they weren't able to buy anymore. So what happened? Some of the buyers decided to sit and wait. And right now we're explaining to the buyers that what you need to do though is realize that you want to, the best time for you to buy isn't exactly, it's kind of, you know, you're going down, you can offer a little less for the property. And so it's a great time to buy, you get a little less. And then what happens when all of a sudden the interest rate drops next year or the year after, whenever it drops, then you refinance it. Because remember, back when the market was going crazy, you were sitting there trying to get your offers accepted, and you were struggling to get your offers accepted because you were bidding against all these cash buyers and buyers that had, you know, were paying way over list price for it. And maybe you didn't get a property, but right now you can get a property. You may end up paying a little more monthly for it. If you're getting a loan and not paying cash, you may end up paying a little more monthly for it. But then the Federal Reserve Board is specifically strategically upping the interest rate to help inflation to go down. And as inflation goes down, just like gas prices have already started going down a little bit, eventually the interest rate will start to go back down a little bit, and then you refinance. And it's like a great loan that you get. I went over that in pretty detail on one of my last videos. So refer back, watch one of those, like it, share it, however you want to do with it. It'll explain a little more in detail what I just said. Okay, so if we talk about the interest rates and how the interest rates are where they are today, or how they were today, they're a little higher up here right now today. We're pushing right around 6%, but look at how high it could potentially go between now and next year. So if you're on the fence waiting to buy next year, the reason why you shouldn't wait financially is because, one, you could end up paying more per month until the interest rates go back down and you refinance. But at the same time, remember what I said a minute ago, the market went up 16% this year. And those people that are saying, oh my gosh, it's crashing, it's going down. No, it's not. Okay, because right now, one, we're still in a seller's market for the most part. It's still, we're in the difference between a seller's market and a buyer's market. I'll show you that graph right now, is the amount of inventory that's on the market. And what this means is how many months will it take to sell? If we didn't put one more property on the market and nothing went on the market, how many months would it take to sell? Well, right now in 2022, where we're at today is right around, I would say, 2 to 3 months inventory. A seller's market is up to 5 months inventory. A neutral market, which is a great, comfortable market to buy real estate in, is between 5 to 7 months inventory. 7 months or more, we're at a buyer's market. So right now, we're still in a seller's market. Right now, we have room for the market to go down a little bit because it went up 16%. So right now, we're probably around 10% year over year from where the properties were worth last year to where they're worth today. We went up 16, so now we've probably dropped maybe 2 to 5%, depending on the area. We're probably right around 10% right now year over year. We still, which means we have 10% more to drop to just basically not go up or down compared to where we were last year. And again, this depends on the area because there's some hot spots that went up as high as 30% year over year. Boise, Idaho area, some areas in Arizona, some areas in North Carolina. There were some different areas that are hot spots around the nation that went up crazy high, had a crazy push in buyers maybe moving out of some of these move out states and moving there, and they had cash, like California and Washington, some of these other ones where they really drove the prices up. So they went up higher than normal. So those are going to see a little more of a hit. But nationally, that's only a few states. Nationally, a typical increase in the market is 4%, guys, 4%. And it's usually every spring that happens. In the history, that's happened. I'm going to show you a graph right now that explains that pretty thoroughly. This is a graph that says, when will median prices reach 1 million? And this is a national number. Okay, so the typical average increase since the 80s has been right around 4.56% increase. Like I said, right around 4% increase. Some areas about 10. So 4 to 10% is on average is what a typical year goes up. And you can see since the 80s that's happened. Right here you see where it really didn't go up. That would have been that market crash. But in the spring, it still went up back then. It just didn't go up quite as much. So yeah, did it go down? Yeah, but then when you look at the graph, it went up a little bit and then back down. Okay, because in the spring, that's when buyers get out of the house. It's when the snow's melting, it's warmer air. You know what? This house has been clogged up and been stuck indoors all winter. So now let's start looking at other homes. Okay, we have interest rates are high right now. Yeah, but you know what? I still want to, we still can buy and then we can refinance later. They start getting educated by their realtors. That's what you need to be doing, educating them. And they start realizing, okay, we can refinance later. You know, interest rates are higher. Now we can refinance. All right. So that's what happens every spring. Typically goes up. So right now, like I said, we're still 10% high, and it's right now September of 2022, and interest rates are high. Are high. They're up to 6%. They're not crazy high though, guys, because I showed you a graph a minute ago where they could go much higher. All right, and they are projected to go up a few more times here in the fourth quarter of 2022. And then in the first quarter of 2023, we're seeing some potentials for interest rates to change. And then the second quarter, again, by third quarter of 2023, we're expecting to see a totally different market. Okay, and then where we're at today. And one of the reasons is because obviously right here, you can see in this graph that typically the market goes up 4% a year in the spring. So for those of you that are for those of you that have clients that are waiting to buy next year because they think that the market's going to keep going down, how much are they going to be spending in rent? How much are they going to end up paying more in interest rates? Okay, and how much are they going to pay more for the property in the spring? Because all of a sudden, people are going to start getting off the fence and starting to buy again. That's what happens every spring. And so as you can see, since the 80s, it's gone up. Every spring, every year, it keeps going up, 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 up. It's just typically not as high as it went this year. Again, we have room to go down. We went up 16% from January of 2022 to May of 2022. And now we're down about 10%. We have 10% to reduce to still be an increase year over year from 2021 to 2022. We have room to go down. What happened during the crash is it went down like a rock. Why? Because there were so many foreclosures hit the market. That's not the case. People have equity in their house right now. There's no crazy foreclosures going on. They have equity. So why would they foreclose? They can sell the house and get money. So they would rather sell the house, even if they sell it less than what it was worth 6 months ago, because 6 months ago, it was worth 16%. Now it's worth only 10% year over year. So again, Agents, this is important information for you to educate your buyers and sellers out there. They need to know this. They deserve to know this information. So take the time and get out there and don't hesitate, or don't be afraid or worried or whatever it is you're doing to explain to the buyers this, because you are the knowledge they need. The knowledge base that they trust is you, agent. Your ears to the ground. This is your job. This is what you do for a living. So get out there and educate them on what's truly going on in the market, because they're getting their information. They're just getting them from other sources that are not truthful sources. All right, get out there, educate the public, and have fun. Have fun doing your job, because your job is an enjoyable job of relationships.